Democrats blaming Republicans, and then of course that sets it up so Joe Biden can come in and pretend like he's not only not the problem, that he's in fact the solution. And that's what he did today. Biden admitted, though, that the border is not secure.
Do y'all think that the border is secure, sir?
No, it's not. I haven't been there for the last 10 years. I've said it for the last 10 years. Give me the money.
Do either policies have enabled any of this crisis in the border anywhere?
I've asked for thousands more judges.
So he said it's been a problem for 10 years, but Biden has been president for 3 years. And then before that, a significant percentage of those 10 years, he was vice president. But Biden says it's not his fault. And actually, he's the one who's trying to find a solution.
I'm ready to act. I think, hope God willing, and the creek not rise, as my grandpa would say. You know, now the question's for the Speaker and the House Republicans. Are they ready to act as well? They have to choose whether they want to solve a problem or keep weaponizing issues to score political points against the president. I'm ready to solve the problem, I really am. Massive changes, and I mean it sincerely.
No, it's not sincere. On day one, Biden used executive orders to rip open the border wall. The goal has always been open borders. In fact, Joe Biden says it himself.
I love how eyes turn on, and Biden's for a free and open border. Just tear down everything, let everybody come, no restrictions. Well, I used to be a bipartisan in this country, and it should be one again. I've been clear from the very beginning, the system is broken.
It's not the system, it's the people who undid the system. And when you carve out holes in the border wall for antelope and cut up razor wire, you're the problem. Cities are being overrun with illegals. If it's not crowded airports in Chicago, it's overpacked hospitals in Denver. Police officers are literally on high-speed migrant chases.
Heading airport.
Head going back northbound. Vehicle became disabled, bailing out. Driver wearing a black shirt, blue jeans. Yeah, there's the driver.
If Biden's serious about the border, why are states like Texas having to take matters into their own hands? In Texas right now, it's a Mexican standoff between Biden and Governor Greg Abbott. After Texas took matters into their own hands, kicking out border control and taking over a sector near the border. Texas is actually making arrests, and Biden is not. Maybe Biden hasn't realized this, but he's been the root cause of all of these problems. But he knows open borders don't play well in an election year, so he wants to wipe his hands clean and pretend like he's hard at work. But if Biden thinks the American people can't sniff out a phony, then November is going to bring a wake-up call for him. Stephen Miller is a former advisor to President Trump and a founder of America First Legal, and he joins me now. Stephen, the results in a Republican caucus, granted in a Republican caucus, but the results in Iowa showed that this was, along with the economy, a top issue for voters. You think that's finally being recognized by the Biden administration?
Well, I think it clearly is being recognized by the Biden administration and by Democrats in Congress in terms of changes you're seeing in their words, that this is going to be the number one issue for millions and millions of voters this election. But their actions are unchanged because their objective remains the same, which is mass illegal immigration. Joe Biden could end this border nightmare tomorrow with a one-sentence executive order that simply read, I direct all officers in my government to restore every immigration policy that was in place the last day Donald Trump was in office. That one-sentence executive order would end this whole crisis. Or he could go to the DOJ and say, in every court case where Texas and other states are suing us because our enforcement is too lax, simply agree to do the very thing that we are being sued to do, and the border crisis would go away. But in every case, they fight to keep the border open against states in our court systems and against Republicans in Congress. And they fight every single day to maintain the policy of mass resettlement of illegal aliens all across the United States of America, including, for the first time in history, of single adult men. Not even Barack Obama, on his worst day in office, voluntarily released one single adult male into the United States. Biden is releasing millions.
Stephen, we're in an election year. In December, there was this meeting in Mexico City with the Biden administration and Mexican diplomats, Mexican bureaucracy, and now here we are in January, and border encounters have dropped by almost 2/3. What is happening?
Anytime you see a change in enforcement posture in Mexico, the smugglers, the cartels, the coyotes are always going to take a wait and see approach. But things will always return to the normal baseline. Every time, as we've seen now for 3 years, there's an even subtle change in policy. There's a brief pause and wait and see period, and then once people discover yet again the Biden policy is catch and resettle, everything returns to the astronomical baseline every single time. Because the whole world knows if you get to that border, you get in. If you get to a port of entry, you get in. If you fly to Mexico City and walk the rest of the way to the border, you get in. Any way you try it, it ends in entry into the United States. And as long as that is Biden's policy, it won't matter what Mexico does except on the margins. And that, unfortunately, is the situation we are in today.
And in the images that will be displayed across CNN or MSNBC or the New York Times of a cleaned up problem during an election year, at least momentarily. Stephen Miller, always great.